was like, nah, bro, I can't take a beating today. So, but yeah, bro, I'm shopping computers. I'm telling you, I'm cleaning, shopping computers, cause this is it. This is it. My life, my virtual life. But anyway, it's good to hear from you, brother Reed. So the reason I chose this topic for today is because we are looking for. All right, so when the power goes out, you can't do a lot of stuff. Watch TV, listen to the radio, anything of that nature, right? So it's the same thing when you're lacking motivation. When you ain't got that motivation, you can't get up, you can't eat, you can't sleep. And so with all of those, with that going on, you can say it's kind of like an electrical circuit right there. Without it, you can't power the things that you want to do. So I think the quest should be not to be getting goals completed. It should be a quest of training your motivation, your motivational antenna. Because if you can train your motivational antenna, then you can pick up a lot more energy to do a lot more things. Now, if your emotional antenna is undisciplined, then you're going to spend a lot of time picking up a lot on that you really don't want to do. But if you discipline your emotional antenna to pick up on those things, or motivational antenna, sorry, to pick up on those things that's going to get you the outcomes that you want, drive you towards the things that you want and the things that you are trying to do, then you're going to have the energy to do a lot of the time. Just a little bit of background on why I actually chose this topic for today, because I need that plug into the motivation to get my energy towards my goals. And so I'm going to myself personally seek the motivation more so than the outcome. What is driving me? What is pushing me towards what I want to do? All right, back to it. Let's get some motivational hacks. Motivation hacks. All right, here we go. Back to it.
You know those days when you really can't be bothered to get out of bed? Which is almost like every day in social isolation when you don't have anywhere to be. And then you read those stories of those go-getters who are just so darn motivated. Like the 5 a.m. club? Do I really have to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning to be considered a success? I think I'll pass. I've had a lot of conversations about the topic of motivation. And while every person is different, there are 3 science-backed tips that everyone should know. And whether you choose to wake up at 5 a.m. or not is not a determining factor. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 simplest hacks to motivate yourself when you just can't be bothered.
Hi, I'm Sade Zarai, and I help professionals to hack their careers, overcome their limiting beliefs, and confidently create the extraordinary life they deserve.
The very first thing you need to be aware of is that motivation doesn't equal action.
Yes.
You can't just sit around thinking that you'll get a shot of motivation and then you'll go out there and do whatever it is that you want to do. Actually, it's the other way around. It's action that leads to motivation. You have to actually go out there and do the thing before you can even start to feel remotely motivated about the thing. It's a slightly different way of looking at it, isn't it? When you go out there and you do that thing, you start to see yourself doing more of that thing. You start to visualize that achieving it isn't as difficult as you may have once thought. You start to see micro improvements in the micro steps helping you get closer to your actual goal. All of these things then add to the motivation for you to continue doing it. So talking about motivation and action, you basically have 2 options at this point in time. The first option is what I just talked about. You can take action. You can choose to act right now, right here, and start that thing that you've been thinking about for so long. But now the second option is what a lot of us get stuck into, and then we wonder why we have no motivation. We start procrastinating. We start overanalyzing. We overthink. And then we come up with every possible excuse, and then we hold ourselves back from taking any action at all. Those who are most successful in life, They take action over overthinking. The reality is that we all have negative self-defeatist thoughts. We all have that voice in our head telling us that we're not good enough, we're not going to be able to do it, we don't have the skills, the intelligence, the networks. And the thing is, if we actually listen to that voice, then we give it power.
Hey, what's up? Turn. There you go. Welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan Everman. It's good to be in here with y'all. Per usual. You know what I'm saying? We here on another Healthy Mental Thursday. And today, what do we do? Hey, welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, as you just heard, Dan F. Man. It's good to be in here again on another Mindful Mondays. It's kind of dark in here for me. I ain't got my blinds and stuff open, but it's good to be in here for another Mindful Mondays. We growing up today, y'all. We looking at growing up today. It's going to be a great episode, so let me get y'all some motivation to get us started. And we get it right. Motivation from the men's in there. All right. Let's see what we got.
And you've got to identify where you are self-sabotaging. And you've got to train your body and your mind. You've got to bring yourself to peak condition. You got to develop your strength and increase your capacity and your endurance. And you've got to stretch, and you've got to push, and you've got to pull, and you've got to leap, and you've got to run. And sometimes you will grow weary. And there will be days where you don't want to get out of bed, where you don't want to eat. You don't have the energy to think, and nobody calls you, and nobody texts you, and nobody checks on you, and very few believe that you will ever come out of this darkness. You will ever come out of this hole. You have to believe. Here's one of the #1 keys to your future: faith. Man, you gotta believe. You will need night vision. You gotta be able to see in the dark. It's you and God. Until my team shows up, I will fulfill my destiny. I will be undefeated. I will be unstoppable. I will be a force to be reckoned with. No weapon that is formed against me will be able to prosper. I am destined, I am determined, I am devoted, I am dangerous. I gotta wipe the blood out of my eyes and start to see that it's possible that I can come out of this place of misery. I can come out of this place of self-doubt and self-sabotage and fear and anxiety. And this idea that my industry is saturated, that there's enough people. There is only one you. To face the adversity with a fierce determination, a hunger and a resilience, and a devotedness to your destiny. I am devoted to my purpose. I am committed to the journey, the process, the pruning, the shaping, the reforming, the preparing, the conditioning. Whatever it takes, I will get it done. One man wrecking machine.
Yes, sir.
There are going to be seasons in your life where you're going to have to learn how to hunt alone. This is the beauty of a soldier in solitary, a man or a woman who does not lose their identity because they're in a wilderness. There are seasons where life will summon you to march to the beat of your own drum, to trailblaze, to innovate, to adapt and create, to do something nobody's ever done in your family, and for some of you to do something no one has ever done in the earth. Goliath had the audacity to speak against the children of God, and one man out of an army became a one-man wrecking machine who will face very dark hours in this journey of building, of trailblazing, of innovating, of creating something, of manifesting it, of birthing it, of transitioning. this version of yourself has to die. You gotta learn how to put God first, eliminate all distractions. He will be your strength and your shield. People are always looking for the everything must go signs and store closing soon and sales. And we pack these stores out because everything must go. And some of you, man, you need to get this mentality that says, man, everything that doesn't serve the vision must go. Everything that does not line up with my level 1 priorities must go. Come on, one man wrecking machine. I got stuff to demo. I got stuff that needs to get out of my mind, out of my heart. I need to stop living in the past. Come on, is this helping anybody? There will be seasons where you will need to be self-sufficient, where you're gonna have to learn survival skills.
Sir.
It's your time to gather intelligence, to master strategy. You gotta learn how to strike while the iron is hot. From the shadows, out of obscurity, out of the ashes of where people left you for dead. Come on, you gotta dig yourself out of that place with the help of God. Come on, I need you to believe that you are good enough to adapt, to innovate, to improvise, and to bring creative solutions to.
Oh, Lord. I wasn't supposed to push enter. Sorry.
No one understands me. If I actually told people how I'm feeling, they would think of me differently. That is a lie that I told myself whenever.
So, there are people that you walk past every day that are dying on the inside because they don't know who they are. They don't know their value. They don't know their purpose. I don't care if you're an athlete, a musician, an entertainer, an innovator, a philanthropist, a poet, a singer, a filmmaker. I don't care who you are. And you're gonna be scratching your head, sliding down the wall, asking yourself, are you still called? Where's my audience? Where's my tribe? Where are my followers? Why am I even doing this content? Why show up every single day? Because eventually, the tide will begin to change. Accept the reality that there will be seasons in your life where you will need to walk alone.
Yes, sir.
There will be seasons where you will be isolated in a type of wilderness where you are going to have to figure it out, where you are going to have to dig deep inside of yourself and unleash the devotedness and the commitment and the resilience and the determination and discover the game plan and the blueprint and the software and the hardware that is required to execute,
yes, sir,
to implement the information that you have acquired. We've got journals full of dreams, but we hate to embrace the reality. There are portions of that dream that you have to manifest by yourself.
Yes, sir.
And in that season, nobody shows up. Let me make this very clear. You are an unrepeatable miracle. There is nobody like you in all the earth. God knew you before you were shaped in your mother's womb. He has a plan to equip you and anoint you and prosper you and heal you and give you an expected end. The very destiny of others are dependent on the decisions that you make and the distractions that you are willing to eliminate. And you gotta walk through valleys. You gotta walk through devastation. You gotta master the ability to sit in that pain and not abort the mission. Am I helping anybody?
Yes, sir.
Drop it in the comments right now. But drop it in the comments. It's me and God. It's me and God.
It's me and God.
It's me and God. You may have family, you may have support, you may have somebody on your team that believes in you, but there will still come seasons where it will feel as though, and quite literally for many of you, it's just you and God. It's just you and God. I am a one-man wrecking ball. The moment that you get this reality, the lights are gonna turn on upstairs. Here it is. You ready for it?
Let's go.
One-man wrecking machine.
All right, let's go. Let's get some memories. If you grew up in the 80s.
Hold on.
You're still purchasing your lenses from your optometrist?
What are you doing? Come on.
Rubik's Cube?
Mere sound, mere feeling. If you were a kid in 1980s America, some things bring back fond memories.
You really feel the music with the Sony Walkman.
The Sony Walkman is a tiny stereo cassette player with truly incredible sound.
From the bright colors and funky fashion to the catchy tunes on cassette tapes, the 80s had a unique vibe.
Attention shoppers, the new Atari cartridge game is in.
Excuse me. Uh-oh.
So join us as we explore if you grew up in the 80s, you remember these things.
It costs less than $500. Put it this way, we're watching a great movie, and you're watching us.
MTV. 1981. Something big hit American TV screens. MTV, or music television. It changed how folks experience music. Before, you'd mostly hear songs on the radio, but MTV brought music to life with their wild dance moves. Suddenly, being a musician wasn't just about making tunes, but also eye-catching videos. MTV has become a place to see what's trendy in fashion and style. People would tune in to catch the latest music video or learn new dance moves.
My MTV.
MTV made stars out of musicians and VJs. It wasn't just about the music, but the whole vibe. Even today, MTV's impact on pop culture can still be felt. It was more than just a TV channel. It was a cultural phenomenon that defined a generation.
My MTV, you want your MTV.
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
As the 1980s dawned with MTV revolutionizing music consumption, amidst the mesmerizing videos and newfound music culture, did anyone find the perfect rhythm to solve the enigmatic Rubik's Cube?
MTV
Rubik's Cube. One thing that rocked the 1980s was the Rubik's Cube.
There's never been a puzzle quite like Rubik's Cube, and America may never be the same. The Medical Journal has written about a unique phenomenon.
It was a cool cube puzzle with different colored squares on each side. The challenge? You had to twist and turn it until each side had one color. Sounds easy, but not so much. It was super tricky, and people worldwide got hooked trying to solve it. The best part was there wasn't just one way to crack it. Everyone had their tricks and methods. Some folks could solve it in seconds, while others spent hours trying to figure it out. It wasn't just a game, it was a craze. People carried them everywhere, trying to solve them on the bus, at school, or during lunch breaks.
Sure, Sir Isaac Newton unraveled the mysteries of gravity, but could he have unraveled the mysteries of Rubik's Cube?
The Rubik's Cube wasn't just a toy, but a symbol of the 80s. Bringing together
and play games like Duck Hunt. Will you be the one to experience the Nintendo entertainment?
It was the ultimate gaming console that brought the magic of video games right into your living room. One of its most famous games was Super Mario Bros., where you played as a plumber named Mario, jumping and stomping on mushrooms and turtles to rescue a princess. It was a blast.
See the latest Nintendo newsletter?
Whoa, nice graphics. I'd like to get my hands on that game.
You mean you haven't played it yet? We can play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System.
The NES didn't just have Mario, it had all sorts of games, from adventure to puzzle to racing. Plus, it came with this excellent rectangular controller with buttons, making gaming feel like an adventure. And let's not forget the iconic light gun for shooting ducks and Duck Hunt. It was a portal to endless fun and excitement. Kids would spend hours trying to beat high scores or conquer challenging levels, and sometimes even adults couldn't resist joining in on the action.
The Nintendo Entertainment System, where video technology is more than a game.
The NES revolutionized home entertainment, bringing families together for epic gaming sessions and creating memories that would last a lifetime. It wasn't just a console, but a symbol of joy and adventure in the 80s. You immersed yourself in the adventures of Super Mario Bros. On your Nintendo Entertainment System, conquering levels and chasing high scores. But did you ever imagine taking those gaming thrills with you on the go? Now imagine a device that offers the same level of portability and enjoyment, but for music lovers. The Walkman. In the 1980s, you needed a Walkman to take your tunes wherever you went. This fantastic gadget made by Sony lets you listen to music on cassette tapes while you're out and about. Before the Walkman, if you wanted to listen to music, you had to stay near a radio or carry around a bulky boombox.
Sony introduces the only cassette player as small as a cassette case.
But the Walkman changed all that. It was small and lightweight, with headphones that let you listen to your favorite songs wherever you went. Walking to school, riding the bus, or even hanging out with friends, the Walkman provides the soundtrack to your life.
Put on a Walkman and see the world.
A big lie about neuropathy you might have heard is that it's caused by diabetes or issues in the...
So, a lot of this stuff was still around by the time I got into the world of living, you know. Like the Walkman, I could still like see it. I didn't use it like for me to go walk around with, but I could still see it in a box somewhere or see people. It still was tapes being put out that you could play on it. So, and especially the Nintendo, regular Nintendo, and Super Nintendo was still popping by the time I was growing up.
Whole new light. The Walkman from Sony, the one and only.
People could listen to whatever they wanted, wherever they wanted, without being tied down to a specific place. The Walkman became a must-have accessory for anyone who loved music and paved the way for portable music players like the iPod and smartphones. Cabbage Patch Kids. There was this massive craze for Cabbage Patch Kids. They were these adorable dolls with round faces, chubby cheeks, and soft bodies. Each one was unique with its own name and birth certificate.
This is what all the fuss is about.
So that's where they
Why
get the
are
Build-A-Bear from.
full-grown adults fighting over these? Well, here's one reason.
I want to get it.
People went crazy trying to get their hands on them, lining up for hours at stores or even paying the big bucks just to get one.
Good parents make Cabbage Patch Kids.
The Cabbage Patch Kids. Each doll is different, and you can pretend to adopt.
It wasn't just about having a doll, but the excitement of collecting and trading them with friends. Some kids even treated them like real babies, dressing them up and taking them everywhere.
Probably a little ridiculous, but it's the only thing my daughter asked for. She's 9 years old, so Mommy breaks her neck.
The popularity of Cabbage Patch Kids sparked a frenzy with merchandise like clothes, accessories, and even a cartoon show. They weren't just toys, but a cultural phenomenon that captured the hearts of kids and adults alike. Even today, people look back on Cabbage Patch Kids with fond memories, remembering the joy and excitement they brought during the vibrant 80s. Leg warmers. Leg warmers were all the rage in the 1980s thanks to the aerobics craze in movies like Flashdance. They were these long, stretchy tubes of fabric that you wore around your legs, usually scrunched near your ankles. People would rock them with everything from workout gear to miniskirts, adding color and style to their outfits.
Leg warmers. It's a look that's all yours.
Yeah,
Available in 7 luscious colors.
Leg warmers weren't just a fashion statement, they were practical too, keeping your legs warm during chilly workouts or dance rehearsals. Leg warmers were essential accessories, whether hitting the gym or
I'm bringing the leg warmer back. My leg be cold.
hanging out with friends. Leg warmers became synonymous with the energetic and vibrant spirit of the 80s, showcasing a blend of fitness and fashion that defined the era. Even today, leg warmers bring back memories of neon colors, big hair, and catchy tunes, reminding us of a time when anything seemed possible and fashion was all about having fun. But how did the scrunchy leg warmers of the era hold up against the gravity-defying hairstyles that dominated the scene, like those iconic big hairdos sported by Madonna and Bon Jovi? Big hair. One thing that defined the 80s in the USA was big hair. It was all about volume and height. People, especially women, rocked hairstyles that were larger than life. Picture hair teased to perfection, reaching for the sky like a fluffy cloud.
You need this Afro Sheen hairspray to give your hair sparkle.
That smells nice too.
Achieving this look often required gallons of hairspray and a teasing comb. The result? Hair that could withstand the wind, rain, and maybe even a hurricane. Big hair wasn't just a style, it was a statement. It said, "I'm bold, confident, and ready to conquer the world." Celebrities like Madonna and Bon Jovi were famous for their gravity-defying hairdos, inspiring countless imitators nationwide. Whether you were going to a party, hitting the mall, or just hanging out with friends, big hair was a must. It wasn't always easy to maintain. Constant teasing and spraying took time and effort, but the result was worth it. Big hair was a symbol of the 80s, capturing the exuberance and extravagance of the era. Teen movies. Teen movies were all the rage and still hold a special place in our hearts today. Films like The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Back to the Future captured the essence of being a teenager in that era.
And one for you, McFly. I believe that makes 4 in a row.
And look at the quality. Look at the quality of the movie. The quality was pretty good.
Now let me give you Nichols word of free advice, young man.
The Breakfast Club showed the highs and lows of high school life, bringing together diverse students who formed unlikely friendships during detention.
I'm doing society a favor, so that's another one right now. I've got you for the rest of your natural-born life if you don't watch your step. You want another one?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off was all about seizing the day and having epic adventures, while Back to the Future took us on a wild ride through time with Marty McFly and Doc Brown. These movies spoke to a generation, addressing friendship, rebellion, and self-discovery themes. With their memorable characters, quotable lines, and killer soundtracks, these films became classics, shaping how we view the 80s and reminding us of the magic of youth.
You don't want to talk about your problem?
With you, are you serious?
I'm serious.
But amidst the drama and laughter of The Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, did these iconic films inspire the same camaraderie and thrill in the arcade game world? Arcade games. Arcade games were the bomb. You'd find these extraordinary places called arcades packed with rows of arcade machines, each beckoning with flashy lights and inviting sounds.
Show Mommy how you play. Go.
Games like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Space Invaders were the show stars. Pac-Man had you munching dots while avoiding pesky ghosts. Donkey Kong had you climbing platforms to rescue a damsel in distress, and Space Invaders had you defending Earth from an alien invasion. You'd spend hours trying to beat your high score or watching in awe as someone else dominated the game. Arcades were more than just places to play games. They were hubs of social interaction and friendly company.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? If you're checking your phone, stop that. Instead, try this technique from the
competition. Transformers. If you were a kid in the 80s, chances are you were obsessed with Transformers.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil.
These fabulous toys were more than action figures. They were disguised robots. Each Transformer could change shape, going from a vehicle like a car or a truck to a mighty robot warrior with just a few twists and turns. It was like having two toys in one.
Attack the Autobot Commander! Call in a Decepticon leader! Transformers, more than meets the eye.
The Transformers.
The Transformers weren't just cool toys, but also the stars of a popular animated series. The show followed the epic battle between the heroic Autobots, led by Optimus Prime, and the evil Decepticons, led by Megatron. Every episode was packed.
So, look at how far all of this stuff has come. This is 40 years we talking about right here. Almost 50 of all of this, pretty much all of this stuff.
With action, adventure, and many robot battles.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. The Transformers, robots in the sky.
Kids everywhere would rush home from school to catch the latest episode, eagerly awaiting the next thrilling showdown. The Transformers franchise wasn't just about toys and cartoons. It was a cultural phenomenon that swept the nation. It spawned comic books, video games, and even a blockbuster movie franchise. The appeal of the Transformers lay in their ability to spark the imagination. Whether you were pretending to be a fearless Autobot or a sinister Decepticon, playing with Transformers allowed you to become part of an epic sci-fi adventure. The Cold War. Growing up in the 80s, we couldn't escape the looming shadow of the Cold War. It was this intense standoff between the USA and the Soviet Union, with both sides armed to the teeth with nuclear weapons. The fear of a nuclear war was always there, lurking in the background. We saw it in movies, heard about it on the news, and even learned about it in school. However, one event that stood out was the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989.
Oh,
it was this
the year I was born. Now we've reached it. The fall of the Berlin Wall.
moment when the barrier that divided East and West Germany came crashing down, symbolizing the end of the Cold War era. People celebrated in the streets, tearing down the wall piece by piece. It was a powerful reminder that hope and unity could prevail even in the face of great adversity. The Cold War may have been a dark chapter in history, but moments like the fall of the Berlin Wall showed us that change was possible and that peace was worth fighting for. As the world grappled with the tension of the Cold War of the 80s, a momentous event signaled a shift towards unity and hope, the fall of the Berlin Wall. But amidst this historical backdrop, another phenomenon emerged, captivating millions worldwide. How did Michael Jackson's Thriller redefine music and culture during this era of uncertainty and change? Michael Jackson's Thriller. In the 80s, one name stood out in music: Michael Jackson. His album Thriller was a game changer. It wasn't just a collection of songs, but a cultural phenomenon. Thriller had hit after hit, from the infectious beats of Billie Jean to the electrifying title track, Thriller. But what set it apart was the music video. The Thriller music video was unlike anything we'd ever seen. It was more than just a video, it was a mini-movie, complete with zombies, werewolves, and a killer dance routine. Michael Jackson's moves were out of this world, and the special effects were mind-blowing. It was like watching a Hollywood blockbuster in miniature form. The Thriller video became an instant classic, and everyone seemed to be talking about it. People would gather around their TVs whenever it came on, eager to glimpse Michael's mesmerizing performance. It wasn't just a music video, it was an event. Thriller catapulted Michael Jackson to superstardom, cementing his status as the king of pop. The album broke records, won awards, and influenced countless artists. Even decades later, Thriller remains one of the best-selling albums ever. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. One movie that captured the hearts of audiences across the USA was E.T. the Extraterrestrial. It wasn't just a sci-fi film.
So, type in the chat if you out there, how many of y'all remember these things?
But a heartwarming tale of friendship and adventure.
Oh, God! Elliot.
The story follows a young boy named Elliot who befriends a gentle alien stranded on Earth. Together they embark on a journey to help E.T. return home while evading government agents who want to capture him.
Home? You're right. That's E.T.'s home.
E.T. struck a chord with audiences of all ages, tapping into friendship, loyalty, and acceptance themes. The bond between Elliot and E.T. was so powerful that it left a lasting impression on viewers long after the credits rolled.
Everything. You said big. Good.
And banjo.
The movie became a cultural phenomenon, spawning merchandise, references in popular culture, and even a ride at Universal Studios. It was more than just a film. It was a shared experience that brought people together and reminded us of the magic of storytelling.
Yes, sir.
AIDS crisis. In the 1980s, the AIDS crisis emerged as a significant public health issue in the USA. AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is a severe condition caused by the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, that weakens the immune system, making individuals susceptible to infections and other illnesses. During this time, the AIDS epidemic sparked widespread fear and uncertainty. Misinformation and stigma surrounded the disease, leading to discrimination.
Did you know that your brain health and aging can be supported simply by light? At the root of all our behavior, emotions and thoughts are electrical
against those affected. The lack of understanding about HIV and AIDS fueled misconceptions and prejudices, hindering efforts to address the crisis effectively. The emergence of the AIDS crisis prompted urgent action from public health officials, researchers, and advocacy groups. Awareness campaigns aimed to educate the public about HIV transmission and prevention methods. The AIDS crisis of the 1980s not only had a profound impact on public health, but also sparked a movement for greater awareness, advocacy, and support for those affected by the disease. Yet amidst this turmoil, another revolution quietly unfolded. How did the advent of personal computers in American households shape individual lives and broader societal landscapes during this tumultuous era of change? Personal computers. Personal computers revolutionized the way we lived and worked in the USA. Machines like the Apple II and IBM PC brought...
Now we're getting into the part where it's catching up to where we know is going on right now.
Computing power into our homes. Suddenly, tasks that once seemed impossible became achievable with just a few clicks of a mouse. With its colorful graphics and user-friendly interface, the Apple II was a game changer. It made computing accessible to everyday people, not just tech enthusiasts. Families used it for everything from playing games to managing finances to writing school reports. Similarly, with its robust hardware and compatibility with business software, the IBM PC became a staple in offices and homes. It paved the way for the modern business computer, empowering individuals and organizations to streamline operations and boost productivity. The rise of personal computers in the 80s marked a turning point in history, democratizing access to technology and laying the groundwork for the digital age we live in today. New Wave Music. New Wave music emerged as a defining sound of the era in the USA. Bands like Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, and The Cure captivated audiences with their unique blend of synthesizers, catchy melodies, and edgy lyrics. Duran Duran brought a sense of glamour and style to the music scene with their infectious pop tunes and iconic music videos. Hits like Hungry Like the Wolf and Rio became anthems of the decade, dominating the airwaves and dance floors. Depeche Mode pushed the boundaries of electronic music, crafting dark and brooding songs that resonated with listeners. Their albums like Violator and Music for the Masses showcased their talent for blending electronic beats with passionate lyrics. Meanwhile, The Cure's moody and atmospheric sound captivated fans with introspective lyrics and haunting melodies. Songs like Just Like Heaven and Friday I'm in Love became classics, defining the emotional landscape of the 1980s. Trapper Keepers. Trapper Keepers were a must-have for kids growing up in the 1980s USA. These colorful binders weren't just practical, but a statement of style.
I figure there are basically two kinds of people. Those who can't get it together, and those who can.
Trapper Keepers' sturdy construction and multiple pockets were perfect for organizing papers, pens, and pencils. Plus, they have various designs and colors, from bright neon to astonishing patterns, which allow kids to show off their personalities at school.
So they don't fall out. I've got a trapper for every subject, and the Trapper Keeper holds them all with this Velcro closure and
We was excited about folders. Folders, boy.
Remarkable features of Trapper Keepers was their Velcro closure, which made it easy to open and close without worrying about papers falling out. It was like having a mini briefcase for your schoolwork.
Whirlwind of paper. Well, that's why I got him the all-new Me Trapper Keeper. These really cool trapper folders let you organize your work.
Trapper Keepers became such a staple of school life that they even appeared in movies and TV shows, symbolizing childhood nostalgia for many adults today. Despite advances in technology, the simple yet practical design of Trapper Keepers continues to hold a special place in the hearts of those who grew up in the 1980s. Greed is good. The motto, "Greed is good," from the movie Wall Street captured the era's spirit. It reflected a time when wealth and success were celebrated and pursued fervently. The character Gordon Gekko, played by Michael Douglas, famously uttered these words, embodying the decade's ruthless ambition and financial excesses.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right.
Wow.
Greed works.
The 1980s saw a booming economy and the rise of Wall Street as a symbol of power and influence. Corporate raiders and high-flying financiers became icons of success, while materialism and consumerism were rampant. However, the mantra, "Greed is good," also symbolized the decade's darker side.
Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence.
Characterized by corporate greed, corruption, and the widening gap between the rich and the poor. It sparked debates about the ethics of capitalism and the consequences of pursuing wealth at any cost. Ultimately, "Greed is good" became a defining slogan of the 1980s, reflecting both the aspirations and the pitfalls of a decade obsessed with money and success. The 1980s celebrated the ethos of greed is good, fostering a culture of ambition and excess. But did the innocence and joy of Saturday morning cartoons offer a necessary escape or merely perpetuate the consumerist narrative?
Perpetuated? What you
Saturday morning cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons were a cherished part of growing up in the 1980s USA. Kids eagerly woke up to catch their favorite animated shows such as He-Man, Thundercats, and the Smurfs.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining.
Cartoons transported viewers to fantastical worlds filled with heroes, villains, and magical creatures.
First chance I get, I'm trading you in for a broom.
He-Man followed the adventures of Prince Adam, who transformed into the mighty He-Man to defend the kingdom of Eternia from the evil Skeletor. Thundercats introduced viewers to the heroic feline warriors who battled the forces of evil on Third Earth. And who could forget the Smurfs, the lovable blue creatures who lived in mushroom-shaped houses and outsmarted the bumbling villain Gargamel. Saturday morning cartoons weren't just about entertainment. They also taught valuable lessons about friendship, courage, and teamwork. Whether it was rooting for the good guys to triumph or laughing at the characters' antics, watching these shows was a week's highlight for many kids. Reaganomics. Reaganomics was the buzzword of the USA, referring to President Ronald Reagan's economic policies. Reagan believed in reducing government intervention in the economy and empowering individuals and businesses to thrive. His approach centered on three main principles: tax cuts, deregulation, and reducing government spending.
But I've always liked George Orwell's blunt and unadorned statement. He said freedom is the right to say no.
One key aspect of Reaganomics was tax cuts, particularly for businesses and high-income individuals. Reagan believed lower taxes would stimulate economic growth by encouraging investment and entrepreneurship.
From who, though?
Reaganomics significantly impacted the economy, leading to sustained economic growth known as the Reagan boom. However, it also sparked debates about income inequality and the role of government in ensuring social welfare. Regardless of one's perspective, Reaganomics remains a defining feature of the economic landscape of the 1980s.
All right, y'all. So, I didn't grow up in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s. But I just wanted to highlight growing up in general, period, because a lot of the stuff that we're using right now came out of that era right there that we just watched. So, don't be mad at it. We just spent 43 minutes, well, a couple minutes on it. I'm going to get one more, though. Oh, that's funny. All right. I don't want no more then. Okay. So, let's look at one thing before we go. There we go. I ain't gonna say what I typed if you can't read it, so I just want you to.
With Geico, we can easily bundle home and car insurance and save even more.
Yeah, just like that breakfast burrito.
There isn't too much hot sauce, is there? I have a 10.
Teens are often characterized as angsty, impulsive, socially inept citizens without fully formed brains straddling the worlds of being a child and an adult. But how much of that is true? More after this break. You got a theme song? Roll it. That was the theme song? Someone's getting fired. Adolescence, the end. That was the theme song? Someone's getting fired. Adolescence, the end of the beginning of our lives, or the beginning of the end of our lives. Sorry, I was raised on My Chemical Romance. I got a lot of dark thoughts in my head. Back in 3, 2. Adolescent development is categorized by the onset of puberty and ends when we choose our adult identity and behavior. The ages that this occurs has changed over time. People used to think it was 10 to 19 years old, but new research suggests that the upper limit is actually 24. Why the change? Well, our bodies are still changing into our 20s and our brains don't fully develop also until our mid-20s. But what does it even mean to be an adult? Being emotionally sound? Making good decisions? A 9:30 bedtime? Well, here are the Teens Are Dummies' greatest hits. Teens can't make decisions. Teens are impulsive, and they don't know real hip-hop. None of those songs slap, but let's break them down. They Can't Make Decisions, the one we all hear, got a lot of radio play earlier this year. After the rise of student activism after school shootings, people derided the kids saying that they couldn't make decisions that young. But while the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for abstract thoughts, decision-making, and social behaviors, isn't fully developed by high school age, it doesn't mean that kids aren't ready to make decisions about whether they want to live or not. That's survival instinct. We all have that, and in this case, it's tied directly to traumatic emotions and memories, which encompasses the limbic system, the hippocampus, and ding-dong, the prefrontal cortex. Yeah, there are some decisions kids can't make, like whether or not to buy a certified pre-owned hatchback. I mean, you can't do it by yourself. You gotta get a guarantor on that. Right. But survival is something that people of all ages can make decisions on, especially if it's to stop future trauma based on past ones. 16-year-olds can see school shooters in their school and be like, yeah, I don't want that to happen again. Their brains are formed enough to make choices about wanting doctors or breathable air or polar bears. Man, I miss polar bears. Older people's main reservations about 16-year-olds voting surround their decision-making, whether they're emotionally impulsive and that they don't know how this country really works. But as we see, research suggests otherwise. At age 16, adolescent brains are still developing, whereas older brains begin cognitive decline as early as age 45. So, should there be an age cap on voting? Older people vote on issues that affect youth currently who have much less power over the future that they will have to live in. Just a thought. And I get it, the sentence 47th President of the United States, Danielle Bergoli, terrifies me, but evidence shows that teens are getting smarter, more active, and energized, and the science says that not only are we ready to make those decisions, 16 could be a better age to start forming civic engagement and socially responsible habits as well. Teens are impulsive is kind of reductive. Yes, research suggests that younger people take higher risks, are more impulsive, and their limbic systems aren't fully developed, but this is because their social learning is still being calibrated. Adolescents tend to be bad at reading the emotions of others, but it takes time to learn how to read all the complex social cues, and given the news these days, it sounds like a lot of adults run into those issues as well. Studies show that by age 15, cold cognition, or decision-making based on facts rather than emotions, is almost fully developed, so it's possible that adolescents voting at 18 is A-OK, possibly younger. Millennials are eclipsing baby boomers as a significant bloc in America's electorate. Generation Z is beginning to get the right to vote, and if current social movements are any indication, change is on the way. With access to information, research suggesting they can be sound decision makers, and the drive to make significant, impactful change, I, for one, the first person in history to ever have said this, no one else has said this, say that the kids are all right. Trademark. Here at Saker, we share stories about...
Hey. We all went through this shift. If you're in an adult phase of your life right now, we all went through this shift. I just like to get some facts out there, you know.
Therapy has always been such a scary idea to me because I simply did not know where to get started. I didn't know how to find my person. I did not know where to go until BetterHelp came in and helped me solve.
As we know only too well, becoming an adult has very little to do with turning 18 or 22, driving a car, or being entitled to drink. An adulthood worthy of the name is an internal process which may postdate the acquisition of a formal adult identity by many years. We might be 92 and still very slowly be leaving adolescence behind. If we live to be 450, many of us would still be struggling to acquire the fundamental constituents of a grown-up mind. There is one definition of adulthood that it is worth focusing on in particular. Adulthood as defined by the discipline of psychotherapy, which more than any other is devoted to working out a path from psychological infancy to maturity. So, here are 12 elements of an adult identity as seen through the lens of psychotherapy. 1. We understand at last some of the ways in which our childhoods have shaped who we are today. We're not confused by a question like, how did your relationship with your mother influence how you see women? Or how did your father shape your sense of what a man might be? 2. We give up on the temptations of believing that we might be simpler than we are. We stop saying that the past doesn't matter, that we can change whatever we like about ourselves simply by wanting to do so, that willpower is everything, and more modestly accept that we might need to explore our minds rather more deeply than would be convenient, if we're going to be able to bring about the changes we seek. 3. We develop a sober appreciation of how easy it is to lie to ourselves. We have a sense of the massive hold of denial on our relationship to reality. We appreciate how easily we may get sad when we're in fact angry, anxious when there's a specific thing that concerns us, or stern and proud when we're warding off vulnerability. We get a measure of our powerful wish to evade ourselves. 4. We learn to tell others with slightly more accuracy what's really going on inside us. We don't expect to be understood without speaking. We learn to translate our paranoia and rage into something that someone else will be able to hear. We sulk a little less. 5. We understand, when we aren't tired, the difference between what someone meant to do to us and what we experienced at their hands. We realize that not every hurt we register was powered by a conscious desire to harm us. 6. We forgive ourselves for the strangeness of our minds. We learn to almost delight in how odd we are, what peculiar thoughts are constantly flitting through consciousness, the daunting surprises of our fantasies and dreams, and the perpetual ups and downs of mental life. We don't condemn this in ourselves or censor it too much in others. We take comfort from knowing that there is a strong difference between a thought and an action. 7. We allow ourselves to get angry at certain things that might have happened around those who put us on the earth, but we don't stay stuck in a position of fury. We hold in mind an uncomfortable but genuine balance of ideas, that our progenitors were not necessarily bad, but that some genuinely difficult things might well have happened at their hands. 8. We accept that sometimes reality may be less awful than we assume it will be, because we appreciate how much of our difficult histories may be colouring the lenses through which we look at the world. We accept that catastrophes don't happen as often out there as they do in our minds. 9. We accept how many of our moods rely on the vagaries of our bodies. We get better at monitoring how much we sleep. We become passionate about early nights. We never try to have any significant conversations with anyone past 9 p.m. 10. We learn that we are not compelled to say everything that passes through our minds the moment it does so. We might register a wish to blow up a relationship and take up with someone new and hold the thought inside for now. We achieve a little more space between what we feel and what we need to do and say. We learn to move slowly. 11. We get patient and encouraging towards those who are less advanced than we are. We don't hold it against them that they haven't already figured everything out. We guess that there might be something more hopeful and tender lurking beneath their bad mood or anger. We remember how often people have cut us slack and cut them slack in turn. We know and get bored by how easy it is to condemn. 12. We remain aware that any progress we feel we've made is always liable to be temporary. We hold our victories lightly. A new storm may be along any moment. We're extremely grateful for every day that unfolds calmly. We lose our taste for excitement. We have nothing against the idea of having a delightfully boring rest of our lives.
If you've got pink salt, apple cider vinegar, and baking...
I like that last piece. What is this? Bruxism.
Hey, welcome back to our channel, folks. Today we've got a really interesting topic to discuss about, something that impacts both kids and grown-ups. It's teeth grinding, or as we call it, bruxism. But here's the kicker. The reason behind it and how it shows up can actually be quite different depending on your age. So stick around as we dive into the fascinating world of bruxism and uncover what sets kids and adults apart. First, let's talk about the similarities. Stress and anxiety. Believe it or not, both children and adults can experience bruxism as a response to stress and anxiety. It is a common way our bodies cope with these emotions. Dental issues. Teeth grinding can result from dental problems such as misaligned teeth or an abnormal bite. In both children and adults, these issues can trigger the habit. Sleep disorders. Bruxism can also be associated with sleep disorders like obstructive sleep apnea in both age groups. Sleep-related factors can play a significant role. Now, let's explore the differences. Developmental factors. Children may grind their teeth during the teething process, which is not a concern for adults. Plus, children's jaw and teeth are still developing, affecting the nature and severity of bruxism. Duration and persistence. Children often outgrow bruxism as they age, while in adults, it often persists unless treated. So, it's not just a phase for grown-ups. Stimulant use. Adults may develop bruxism as a side effect of medications or substances like caffeine. This is less common in children, but it can happen. Genetics and family history. Family history may play a role in both children and adults, but the specific causes and patterns can vary widely. It is not a one-size-fits-all situation. Treatment approaches. The management of bruxism in children may involve behavioral modification and dental interventions tailored to their growth and development.
I didn't know that there was a word for it, for your teeth grinding. Bruxism. Bruxism is the word. All right, now we're going to get on up out of here for the day. I'm going to leave y'all with some quotes. I thought this video was going to be something different, but I'm glad I watched it because I just learned a new word along with something that's affecting a lot of children and myself. Teeth grinding. All right. All right. Here we go. Let's get some mindfulness quotes.
Once upon a time in a small village nestled among the rolling hills, there lived a young man named Hero. Hero was known throughout the village for his restless mind. He was always thinking, analyzing, and worrying about the past and the future. His mind was cluttered with thoughts, and he could never find peace. One day, Hero heard about a renowned Zen master who lived on top of a distant mountain. The master was said to possess the secret to finding inner peace and tranquility. Intrigued, Hero decided to embark on a journey to seek the wisdom of the Zen master. After days of arduous travel, Hero finally reached the top of the mountain. There, he found the Zen master sitting quietly, his eyes closed in deep meditation. Hero approached the master and bowed respectfully. "Master," Hero said, "I have come seeking your guidance. My mind is restless, and I yearn for inner peace. Can you teach me how to empty my mind?" The Zen master opened his eyes and looked at Hero with a serene smile. "Empty your mind, you say? Very well, I will teach you," he replied. The master led Hero to a small courtyard adorned with a beautiful garden. In the center of the courtyard, there was a large stone basin filled to the brim with water. Hero watched as the master picked up a ladle and dipped it into the basin, scooping up a ladleful of water. He then poured the water into a smaller, empty bowl. "Now, Hero," the master said, "your task is to empty the basin. You must transfer all the water from the basin to the smaller bowl without spilling a single drop." Hero looked at the task before him and felt puzzled. How could he possibly empty the entire basin of water into such a small bowl? Nonetheless, he accepted the challenge and began scooping water from the basin. For hours, Hero diligently scooped and poured, but no matter how hard he tried, the basin remained filled with water. Frustration crept into his heart, and his mind became even more restless. The Zen master observed Hero's struggle with a compassionate gaze. He walked over and gently placed his hand on Hero's shoulder. "Hero, my dear student," the master said softly, "you are trying so hard to empty the basin, but you have forgotten the first and most crucial step. To empty the basin, you must first empty your mind." Hero looked at the master, his eyes filled with confusion. "Master, how do I empty my mind?" The master smiled warmly. Let go of your worries, your fears, and your attachments, he said. Focus only on the task at hand. Be fully present in this moment, and the rest will follow. Hiro took a deep breath and let go of his frustration. He stopped trying so hard to empty the basin and instead focused on each scoop of water, savoring the sound and the sensation of it. Gradually, he entered a state of flow, his mind becoming clear and his movements effortless. As Hiro emptied his mind, something miraculous happened. The basin seemed to respond to his newfound tranquility. With each scoop, the water flowed effortlessly into the smaller bowl, and the basin gradually emptied. Finally, Hiro poured the last drop of water into the small bowl. He looked at the Zen master with amazement and gratitude. You see, Hiro, the master said, when you empty your mind, you allow the universe to flow through you. You become one with the task at hand, and everything falls into place. Hiro realized that true peace and clarity resided within him all along. From that day forward, he carried the wisdom of the Zen master in his heart, reminding.
All right, y'all.
Most people waste hours planning their week. Here's how I got it down to 0 minutes. I used to get...
Y'all, we out of here for the day. This has been another great episode of Expansion Pack. I'm going to finish this game and then go on and live my life. I'm glad y'all came through here today on another Mindful Mondays. And I'm out. Peace. This is DGTA TV. All right, y'all. I'm out.
So you don't need to do a lot of shrink and psychology stuff. You just look at your life and say, where am I struggling? Because wherever you're struggling, inevitably is a program in your subconscious that does not support that destination you've been looking for. I had the knowledge academically. It's like, oh my God, look at the research. What does it mean? I understood it from the level. And with all that knowledge, it didn't change my life. People read self-help books. I go, well, you read the book. You got a lot of knowledge. I say, is your life changed? No, but you got a lot of knowledge. And so here's the difference. The conscious mind is creative and can learn in any number of ways. Read a self-help book, go to a lecture, listen to this program, and conscious mind's going to get some awareness. And I go, yeah, but subconscious mind doesn't learn that way. I go, right, it doesn't. Subconscious mind learns in 2 fundamental ways naturally. Hypnosis, which is the first 7 years. And after age 7, how do you put new programs in? Repetition. Practice. You want to drive a car, you didn't learn how by just getting in the seat and put the key in. You had to practice driving the car. You want to learn the alphabet. How many times did you go from A to Z? Try to go to A to Z before you can complete it. Once you completed it,
my bad, y'all.
You didn't have to go back and do it again. So 2 phases. You want to train the subconscious mind. Hypnosis, repetition. I like the last one because there's a new phrase that's bandied about called fake it till you make it. Meaning, if you're not a happy person, I say, you want to be a happy person? Then repeat all the time, I'm happy, I'm happy. I say, well, you don't look happy or anything. I say, no, who am I talking to? By repetition, I'm talking to subconscious.
Exactly.
If subconscious gets, I am happy, and 95% of your life comes from that subconscious, there will be a point once the subconscious got, I am happy, you don't have to say it again.
It's 9:15. How am I already underwater?
I'm in the same boat. I'm in an actual boat.
All right, y'all.
I thought Grammarly...
I'm going to go ahead and get us up out of here for the day. Give us a little bit of Earl to listen to. And then we up out of here. I love y'all. And let's just keep on working. Let's keep on working. Keep on working. Keep on working. Keep on working. We are not just a floppy disk walking around that get programs downloaded on it and then put into a new body. No. We are deeper than that. Let's go.
If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person. It goes back to what the great German poet and philosopher Goethe once said. Before you can do something, you must first be something. Before you can do what you would most like to do, you must first become the person who can do it. If you can get a mental image of
Let me give you a plan that I guarantee will bring you just about anything you want in the next 5 years if you can buy it with money. Start getting up an hour before the rest of the family does in the morning. Sit down with a clean sheet of paper and think of 20 ideas for improving what you now do for a living. 97% of these ideas will be worthless. We know that. But some of them will be good. Now, what do you think the chances are of your getting the idea you've been looking for all the days of your life? The law of averages is on your side. And one idea can make you rich. You only need one. Let me give you a plan that I guarantee will...
In our lives, we often hear the words keep going or stay consistent, but what do they really mean? The truth is, consistency is not just about doing something repeatedly. It's about showing up even when it's hard, when the progress seems small, or when life throws obstacles your way. Consistency is born from a deep commitment to your vision. It starts with a desire that fuels your every action. When you understand your bigger purpose, when you know why you're doing what you're doing, the power to stay consistent becomes that much stronger. It becomes a part of who you are, a reflection of your commitment to yourself and your dreams. In our lives, we often hear the words keep... We become what we think about most of the time. And that's the strangest secret. This is why thinking is so vital. This is why a goal is so important, because we will become that. This is why people who set goals achieve them. The trouble with men is not in achieving their goals. They do that. It's in establishing them. We become what we... You see, the goose that lays the golden eggs is the breadwinner. The more money invested in him, the more golden eggs he can provide. Now, take you, for example, Jimmy, he said. You're 16, and like most boys your age, you don't know what you want to do with your life yet. You're confused. You haven't really been giving your best to your schoolwork because you're not sure you'll need a lot of the subjects you're studying after you get out of school. And not knowing what to do after you're an adult, you don't know what you'd want to major in at college. Now, what I want you to understand is that as long as you're getting an education, you're investing, we're both investing in this goose. The more we invest here, the more golden eggs you'll be able to provide for yourself and your family someday. And if you're really smart, you'll never stop investing in the goose, even after college. Each year, you'll invest a percentage of your income in your continuing education. You see.
What's up? Welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. Let me get some music in the background. There you go. Hey. Today, we are finding treasure on Your Way Wednesday. Oh, let's do it. It's a little rainy outside, so it ain't gonna matter if I open the blind or not. We are finding treasure. So I ain't gonna delay. Let's get some motivation in here today. Right now, real quick. And we'll get our day started off right, y'all. Alright, one snacky. Alright. So I wanted to listen to some Earl Nightingale give us some motivation real quick. Let's see what he got to say. See if he got enough time for us. I need something short, Earl. I need something short. What you got? What's the shortest you got? 41, 18, 28, 13, 4. We'll bring it back around to Earl at the end of the day. Oh, it's Wednesday. Motivation for women. We got to get the motivation for the women today, for our ladies out here. All right, let's go.
I used to spend dozens of hours every single week proofreading. I was constantly fixing run-on sentences, unclear syntax, and repetitive language by hand until I found Grammarly. Grammarly is the AI writing partner that helps professionals write.
Your results will turn those who ignored you into fans. So don't slow your progress because you're trying to convince other people. Don't slow your progress because you're trying to drag too many people with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes you're not hitting your goals because you are carrying the weight of those around you. And some people are just not ready to go where you are going, and you've got to recognize that. Do not yield to distractions. Focus on you. So many people dream big dreams, but they never take any action. If you don't believe in yourself, you've already lost the battle. Not believing in yourself is a losing battle because either you won't try at all or you will convince yourself that you can't do it.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you convince yourself that you can't do it, your results are going to confirm what you believe. And when your results confirm what you predicted, then you're gonna say, see, this is who I am. Why should I even try? That is where you begin to fall short of your goals. You fall short of your goals when you predict that you're not going to hit them. And sometimes you're too focused on probability. You're asking yourself, well, what's the likelihood of this happening? Versus focusing on the possibility.
Yes, ma'am.
Asking yourself, how would my life change if I accomplish this?
Yes.
Ask
Yes,
yourself
Lord.
that question.
Yes,
And
Lord.
don't wait on approval from anyone outside of you.
Not, ma'am.
And don't feel bad because you feel like no one is cheering for you. No, you've got to decide that you are your biggest fan. You've got to decide that